Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. This video is a makeup basket video for the month of July 2019. This is my everyday makeup drawer right here. This is most of the makeup that I used last month. I'm going to show you what products I used up over the course of last month, and then we're going to go through and figure out which items will stay, and then I'll go through my makeup drawers and pick out new products to add to this drawer. To start, let's talk about all the makeup products that I used up. I used up 2 setting sprays actually. First one is the Ofra setting spray. It's the makeup fixer. I didn't like this. It's a bright red spray and it's very heavily fragranced. I don't think it has a lot of alcohol in it. I don't think it did a lot for oil control. It really was just to get the powdery look down. And I only had a little bit left of the pure makeup spray. I had it in an old Urban Decay all-nighter bottle and I finished it up, and so now this is empty. I will talk about these more in depth in my upcoming empties videos. I also finished a few products from my project pan. This is the contouring duo from Wet n Wild. This one is finally done. And I also finished up the Reserve Your Cabana powder in the shade Reserve Your Cabana. And it's technically a bronzer, but it was more of like a highlight for me. So these are both done. I used up the Lash Warrior Princess Mascara. This has a very plasticky, spiky wand. Not the biggest fan, to be honest, and it just stayed really wet. It was a very wet formula, which I'm not a fan of. So this one is done. I used it up for about 3 months, and I'm pretty happy to see it go. I will show you what next mascara I will work on this month. Another product I used up is a concealer from LA Girl. I think this is in the shade Ivory or something like that, and it took forever to use up. I've had this in my makeup basket videos for like 4 months now, and it's finally gone, so I will show you what concealer I will work on next later in the video. And lastly, I used up this e.l.f. Active Get Out and Play SPF 50 product. They don't sell this anymore that I know of. I think you can maybe find it in some stores, but I don't think it's like being created anymore. Like, I think it's discontinued. And so I don't know how old the ones that are in the stores are right now, so I probably won't repurchase any of those. But this is really nice. I wish that this was still a part of e.l.f.'s line. This is a good SPF. Now let's look at the stuff I'm going to put back. I'm going to put back this Hourglass blush. It was really pretty. I enjoyed playing with it a lot this month, but I'm going to play with some other blushes in my collection. And I'm going to put back this Maleficent highlighter from ColourPop. It's from their Disney Villains collection. I don't know if you're able to see that in the light, but there is a ton of glitter in this. It's a very, very soft formula, very pretty, very blinding. Yeah, I think you can see the glitter there too. It's a really pretty product, but not something I'd use every day. It is very, very glittery. So I'm going to put that back and play with some other highlighters in my collection. I have some more thoughts on this Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation. Number one, I think the shade is just a tiny bit too light for me in the summertime. I'm in the shade LG2. I think it's okay. I mix it with something slightly deeper and a little bit thinner, and that way it looks better on my skin. But honestly, this doesn't really do a great job at covering up redness. If I have like a red spot, it'll kind of go over it and not do anything. And also, I think it kind of just sits on top of the skin. It doesn't really ever melt in with my skin. And if I don't set it heavily with powder, it does transfer easily and move around throughout the day. And it also kind of gets greasy throughout the day too. So not my favorite. I'm going to continue to use it regularly. It's not so bad that I can't wear it like to work and stuff. It's not really that big of a deal. And it's just okay. Honestly, it's just okay. I'm also going to put back my Marc Jacobs highliner. I'm currently trying to use the Milani one in a project pan, so I don't want to tempt myself by having this one nearby. I might use it on the weekends or when I'm filming or something, but I'm going to try to use the Milani one on a regular basis, so I'll keep that in my makeup drawer and put this one back. Okay, and now just a quick overview of everything that's staying. This Wet n Wild Blossom Glow highlighter, this RCMA powder, this e.l.f. Beauty Shield, this Filmstar Bronze and Glow Duo, so these shadows right here, the Sultry palette, the Marc Jacobs bronzer, the Tarte and Bloom palette, my Bare Minerals color corrector, my ABH brow pomade in taupe, and my Lunch Money highlighter from ColourPop. The majority of these, pretty much all of them except for this Lunch Money highlighter, these are pretty much all in a project pan right now, so I'm going to keep them for this month. Over here I just have like a palette, my Andalou Naturals face mask, my eye cream, a little beauty sponge, some Q-tips, a sharpener, and my lash curler, and then just some little index cards in the back. I use those to fan my face whenever I spray my face with setting spray. I just kind of keep those utility products over in the corner. I never really show that corner that often because it's pretty much the same every month. And then over here I have some stuff that once again I keep every month. My eyeshadow primer. I had some nude lips that I was playing with this month. I had the e.l.f. matte lip color in the shade Nearly Nude. And then I had Perla from Stila, and then Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. Pillow Talk is also in a project pan, so I'll keep that. These two I'll put back. My Essence Make Me Brow Gel I'll keep. The NYX Epic Ink Liner I'll also keep. This Jouer Concealer in Creme Cafe I will also keep. This blue mascara from ColourPop, I didn't play with it a ton this month. I just had a lot of other things going on, so I'm going to keep it one more month. This Anastasia Beverly Hills lip color in the shade Soft Lilac. I wore this in a video and I really liked it. I thought it was really pretty. I'm going to put it back this month. I also pulled out an Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick in the shade Soft Pink, and I wore this in a Project Pan update video. I'll link it in the cards. And I thought it was really pretty. I'm going to put it back and actually play with another Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick this month. And lastly, I have this Physicians Formula Organic Wear Lip Treatment. I played around with this a lot more this past month and I kept it in my backpack just to have a chapstick throughout the day, and honestly I love the packaging, but I think this dries out my lips. Like, I have a horrible rash on my lips currently, and this has happened twice this month, and both times I had used this product, and I'm pretty sure it's not anything else that I was using, so I might give it one more try later on just to see for sure if it's this product that's causing those dry patches on my lips, but honestly I'm not a fan. I think it's very underwhelming. So let's move on to my makeup drawers. So now let's look at my larger eyeshadow palettes. You'll see I have a new eyeshadow palette in here. This is the Naked 3 palette from Urban Decay. I've just been eyeing up this palette for months now, and I finally just decided to buy it, and I've really been craving pinks that aren't overtly warm or orangey, and so I'm really excited to play with this a little bit more. I do have some harder eyeshadows to pan in my current To Pan Those Eyeshadows project for July, and so I will kind of keep this in my drawer for this month and then hopefully play with it a little bit later on. I've been swatching it and loving it, and I just cannot wait to dip my fingers into this. One of the shades I pulled was from the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette, so I am going to pull that out this month. Very excited to be playing with this a little bit more. If you've seen, I did hit pan on this crown shade right here in the corner, so I'll be pulling this out this month as well. But other than that, I think that's everything for my large eyeshadow drawer. Now for my smaller eyeshadows and other miscellaneous eye products, I do have some new stuff in here as well. I recently purchased the eyeliner from Physicians Formula that I hear everybody talking about. I'll use the NYX one for a little bit longer and maybe pull this out whenever that one is dried up. I also have this Lash Stash To Go thing that I bought during the Sephora VIB sale, and it's just 5 of these little mini mascaras, and then it gives you a voucher for a full size. And I am going to pull out the Kush mascara from that set for this month. I'm really not crazy about this mascara, so I'll probably only keep it in for another month. I've been using it for the past couple of weeks. The brush is just so large and clumpy, and no matter how many times I rinse it off with a tissue, it just kind of gets clumpy over and over again. The formula is not that impressive, so I'll probably use this for another month and then move on to a new mascara. And I also have this Stila Glitter and Glow that I have in a current project pan. This one is in the shade Sea Siren, so I'm going to pull that out and play with it more this month. If you can see, I already have quite a chunk of it missing. And I'm also going to pull out the glitter primer from NYX. I have it and I've had it for a few months, but I never remember to pull it out, so I'm going to put it right in my drawer so that I can use it more this month. And also I'm going to pull out my Milani eyeliner pencil in the shade Hooked on Espresso. This is in a current project pan, and I'd like to use it up before I start using that Marc Jacobs liner more. And I think that's everything for my eye products. Alright, so I turned on my ring light so you could see better. The next drawer is blushes, and I do have some new blushes in the back here. I have this Wet n Wild Baked Blush and this Cover FX Duo. I bought the Wet n Wild Baked Blush right before we all found out about Wet n Wild secretly selling in China stores. And it's a really pretty color, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. A lot of my Wet n Wild stuff I'll probably just use up, and I'll probably put those in project pans more next year. I have a lot of stuff I want to work on this year, so probably next year will be my Wet n Wild project pans. I don't know if you can see that swatch there, but very, very shimmery, very pink, very pretty shade. I'm not going to play with that this month. This month I'm actually going to pull out this Cover FX Duo that I purchased. This is the peach one, and it's really pretty. I haven't really used it a lot on my face yet. I think I've only used it one time. So I'm going to pull this out, and when I'm feeling something a little bit more pink, I'll pull out this Camila blush from Becca. Really pretty pink, a little bit of a healthy sheen to it as well. Definitely need to use a light hand for this one. So these will be the blushes I play with this month. And I'm also going to pull out this Flower Beauty blush balm in the shade Pinch, just because I think it'll go really nicely with the Cover FX duo. And that is everything for blushes. Now let's move on to bronzers. Once again, I have a couple new bronzers in the back here. I have one from Cover FX. This one is in the shade Sunkissed, and it's a really pretty lighter, more neutral, maybe slightly cooler toned bronzer. I also have this Wet n Wild bronzer. This is in the shade Bronze Dynasty. Very similar to the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer in my opinion, at least in undertone and depth. And I have this bronzer from Becca. I think this is in the shade Bali Sands, yeah. And this one is really pretty. It does remind me a lot of the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. They're very similar in my opinion. I might pull out some of these to play with later on, but really I do want to focus on my Omega bronzer in my current project pan, so I don't want to pull out any bronzers specifically, but if I decide I want to play around with the new bronzer, I'll probably pull out one of those three in the back. And so I'm not actually pulling anything from the bronzer drawer this month. Next is the highlighter drawer, and I am working on two highlighters in my current project pan, the Wet n Wild Blossom Glow and the Film Star Bronze and Glow highlighter from Charlotte Tilbury. However, I have been looking at my highlighters lately and realizing that I don't play with this Laura Geller one as often. It's in the shade Universal. I don't know if it's technically a highlighter, but it's just a really pretty, more neutral, more natural looking highlighter. Really nice, healthy sheen. It's not a good place to swatch it. I don't know if it's picking up at all, but I put a really big swatch right here on my hand. It just leaves a really nice, healthy sheen. And so if I'm not going overtly pinky or overtly gold, I'll use this one. And because it is summertime, I'm going to pull out this liquid highlighter from Wet n Wild. It's in the shade Halo Goodbye. I'll probably mix this in with a cream and put it on my legs or put it on my collarbones or something, just to kind of get some more use out of it. I do think it's a bit sticky, and it doesn't really do much when I put it on my face, but I think it'll work nicely on the body, and that might help me use it up a little bit faster. But all in all, I think that's everything for highlighters. Next up is face products, and I actually have a lot that I'm going to be pulling this month. The first thing I want to talk about is this powder right here from Catrice. It's the waterproof translucent powder, and it actually shattered. I dropped it and accidentally broke the top off, so I'm going to keep this in my makeup drawer in the little side thing, and I'll use that to touch up throughout the day before filming, or if I just want to add a little bit of something onto my T-zone before leaving. I'll keep this for that, just because I don't want to travel with it anymore. And in my backpack, I will now reach for the Sexy Mama powder from The Balm. I've actually been using this for like a week now, and I really like it, so I will keep this in my backpack. It seems a little bit sturdier and a little bit less likely to break if I drop it, if and when I drop it. I also used up 2 setting sprays last month, so I'm going to pull out the All Nighter setting spray from Urban Decay. This is just really good for the summertime. I can trust it to keep me from getting oily throughout the day, so I'll use this for until it's gone. I think it's like probably halfway gone. And I'm also going to be pulling out this Too Faced Hangover RX 3-in-1 setting spray. I like to use this more as a primer spray than a setting spray. I don't think it does much for longevity of my makeup or keeping me from getting oily. So I use this in conjunction with my moisturizer, kind of turning it into a moisturizing primer. I like the way it smells, and I will play with it more this month to see if there are other ways to use it, because it says it's a 3-in-1, and I already know one of the ways I don't like using it, so we'll see. I just want to play with it a little bit more. And I am going to be using the RCMA powder to set my face and the Jouer concealer. Let me see, is there anything else I want to pull out this month? Oh, and lastly, I'm going to pull out this Cover FX Blot Drops. It's kind of like a primer. You can also put it over makeup, but I prefer to use it more as a primer to keep me from getting oily throughout the day. This is in a current project pan, and yeah, I'm just going to play with it more this month to get a better opinion. But I think in general, that's everything I want from this drawer for now. And the last drawer is lips. So I played around a lot with nude lips last month, and I think I'm going to keep a similar type of trend this month. I do want to pull out this Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick in the shade Honey. This was a gift from my friend Katie. She bought it from TJ Maxx or something, and then it ended up not being a great shade for her, so she gave it to me. It's a really pretty nude, very much like a honey shade in my opinion, like a brownie nude, and I haven't tried this on yet that I remember, so I do want to play with it this month and see if I can make it work. I'm not sure if it'll work on me either. I'm definitely not one who wears these really light browns very often, but we will see. We'll give it a shot. And honestly, with the combination of eyeshadows I randomly chose this month for my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, I honestly have no idea what type of lip colors I'm going to be able to pair with the eye looks I'm creating. So I'm going to leave this one a little bit more open-ended this month. I don't even know what I would want to wear, so I'll try out that Anastasia Beverly Hills lipstick and just pull as I see fit throughout the month. So let's move back and see everything that I pulled out for this month. Alright, so this is everything I'm going to be playing with in July. I also wanted to mention the perfume that I'm using in my current project pan. This is from Calvin Klein. It's in the fragrance Endless Euphoria, I believe. At least that's what everyone in the comments is telling me. This doesn't actually have anything on the bottle, but I'm 99% sure it's that fragrance from Calvin Klein. So I'm going to be playing with this month as well. So yeah, let me know if you have any tips on how to best use this Too Faced spray and also the glitter primer from NYX right here. Let me know if you have any tips on how to best use those. I hope you guys all have a wonderful summer so far, or winter if you're in the southern hemisphere. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video.